best. So, this is a poem, a story about characters who are queer, trans, polyamorous. I wanted to fit all this into one poem, and I thought the best way of doing this was to write a poem from the perspective of a rock in the middle of the ocean.
Okay.
Yeah, so let's see how that goes. It's called The Sea, the Limpet, the Mermaid. Once I loved the sea. Lived the crashing, the constant current, waves breaking, washing me with salt, leaving me with her mark. White mineral stains building up, wave after wave, sliced across my sharp edges, my jagged fingers cut caressing its softly tender tides, leaving me, when dry, with her white salt blood. Coating me a thin sheen, patina armor, embrace of sea love. And sometimes sailors passing by would peer at my rocky perch. And I knew if they asked me, I could tell them all about my love for the sea lady. But they didn't ask, so I didn't say. But the sea's not steady, she comes and goes. One day her tidal heartbeat so strong against me, waves beating my body, my edges, my frame, takes me complete. Wavelet fingers finding all of me, my holes and crevices, filling, pushing, forcing, as my cracked, rocky spires crave, carve through her surf. Her tides thrust through and spill round me. Another day gone. Limp and limpid, calm, still and clear, absent of sea's life. A perfect crystal sterile plain of dead water. And my love for her waned in her absence. And if she'd asked me, I would tell her all about my loneliness, that I long for her, now she's gone from me, my lost soul love, but she wasn't there, so she couldn't ask, and I didn't say. And as it became clear, the sea had drawn, cold and still, so long she was gone, my only company, cold, clean air, that had no salty love to spare. Or so I thought. But not all sea life was gone, and soon I noticed a slow but constant suck against my mineral skin, against my thinning salt armor sheen, a little limpet. Slowly, solemnly, stealing the salt from my skin, last remnant of my loved sea. I wanted to shake her off, but I couldn't. I wanted to tell her if only she'd ask about my sea-lost love. And me, ragged and shorn, love-lorn, about my salt coat, sea's parting gift, how that limpet slowly licked it from me. But she couldn't ask, because she was a limpet. So I didn't say. But as the sea stayed still, the steadiest it had ever been, stagnant, the sun shone down, I warmed, and my salt wore off. And the limpet stayed, sucked on my ledge still, with hard edges of her own to match mine, and in a dozen slow and creeping caressings she moved on me. Explored my perches and my crags, and gradually knew the all of me. Clinging still and always steady. And if she'd ask, I'd say, cling to me, my limpet love. You're my armor now, you, your tiny patch of shell. But she didn't ask because she knew. So I didn't need to say. Eventually, the sea returned. As the seasons changed, the currents convalesced, resumed their pulls and pushes, their waves and tides against me. But it's a different sea. The once pleasant waves are not a her at all, but a he. And the sea, he sees my limpet, and the waves crash on her. And with his anger trying to rip her from me, but I hide her in my crevices, ones the sea even can't reach. I hide my limpet love, let the storm break on my back, and he rained down his salt breakers that don't break me. And I see him. I see his salt tears falling on me, on deaf ears. If I could have cried, I'd have cried too, but I can't, so I just crumbled somewhat. My crag stripping off the love we'd had. For how the sea had gone, made himself a he, both for him and for me, but I did not know if he'd now stay. And I wanted to say all about my limpet love, steadily loving my every inch, who never needed to go away, who never feared I wouldn't love her if she changed. And I wanted to say if he'd only asked how happy I am for him, happy now in his own sea skin, and how if he likes I can love him still. But now I'll love him with a limpet too. But he doesn't ask, so I can't say. but still he sends the odd wave my way, smoothing out my jagged edges, where they crumbled with his tears, till there were ledges pebble smooth where the sailors often perched in the sun. And they, the limpet and I, would sometimes spy a mermaid or merman we could not tell, swimming in the sea's currents. Sometimes fast and full pell-mell, sometimes splashing in pleasant play, seawater spreading a gloss on the plates of their tail, salt shining on their tinted skin. Then one day, the sea washed its lover by chance on my smooth shoulders, as he preened and stretched their tail across my perch, grazing my limpet with the faintest touch. As he reclined across me and looking down said, "Hello, what are you then?" And since he asked, I said, "I'm a rock who lives in the sea, his wet salty love enveloping me, and there is my limpet, just there by your tail, who you may think clingy, but that's no bad epithet, as her cling hugs, slow caresses make me so happy. And I used to be jagged, but she and he made me smooth, which makes me a good seat for sailors and you. And although I'm a bit salty, it's true, and I love the sea, and my limpet, through and through and through, and now there's, hello." And he laughed a laugh like the rainbow lights in salt spray exploding, up when the rough sea throws itself in passion against the rocks. And he said, "I'm a mer. I live in and love the sea, and there's much of him to love. And I swim in his currents, and he strokes and teases me with 1,000 strong and gentle eddies. And with my tail I move him in 100 small ways. And sometimes he moves me to places I never expected to go, like smooth rocks, spread out in the sun, with limpets on them. And I might come back to you, good rock, because it's warm on you and nice to sit, and you have a limpet on you. And maybe, if it's alright with you, I'd love you too, as I have a lot in me that loves. And if I could have blushed then, I would. But I can't, so I just said, that sounds nice. And the sea laps happily, warmly up at us. And the mer flicks her tail, spraying the cool, cool spray over the sea, the limpet, mer, and me.